Of fluids. First up is the isotonic solutions. So just think isotonics are iso-perfect. We have a perfect balance of solutes both inside and outside the cells. So there's no fluid shifts, or in fancier medical terms, when solutions on both sides of a cellular or selective membrane have established equilibrium, or are equal in concentration. They have equal osmotic pressure, basically meaning the concentration within the cell is the same as that outside the cell. So there's no tug of war or pulling of fluid out or into the cell. We have perfect balance with iso-perfect. Now, it's important to note that human blood is isotonic. Thus, very little osmosis occurs when isotonic solutions are infused into the body, since they have the same osmolality as body fluids. And thus it increases extracellular fluid volume, basically fluid within the blood vessel. So once again, the memory trick here, isotonic solutions, just think iso-perfect, like I'm so perfect. No fluid shifts, just perfect balance. Now a big caution here, too much isotonic fluids can cause fluid volume overload, that big water balloon body. So we must monitor blood pressure. And the key manifestation to watch for is hypertension crisis. We're talking a BP over 180 systolic, huge risk for a CVA stroke. Once again, just think about all that pressure pounding on those little tiny blood vessels inside the brain. It can cause a deadly bursted blood vessel, called an aneurysm. Now, the list of isotonic solutions that you should know for your exams, write these down. 0.9% sodium chloride. This is normal saline, as well as lactated ringers. Be sure to know these two for all your exams. Now, the uses of isotonic solutions, they're used mainly to add fluids intravascularly or inside the blood vessels to rehydrate the body and increase the blood pressure when it's low. So we give it for hypotension, that low blood pressure, in order to increase the blood pressure. We also give isotonics during blood transfusions to add volume during that blood administration. And we also give it to clients who are hemorrhaging or have had blood loss, as well as clients with diabetic conditions, DKA and HHNS, where the body gets overloaded with super high blood sugar, making the blood very thick and the body very dry. So clients are typically started on isotonic solutions initially and then move to hypotonic fluids. Now, speaking of hypotonic solutions, for hypotonic, think LO. These solutions have a lower concentration of salt or solutes than the ICF, the intracellular fluid, that fluid inside the cell. So write it down. Hypotonics have a lower osmolality than body fluids. So just look at the O's here with the hypo and the lower osmolality. So fluid is drawn into the cell via osmosis to make balance, causing the cells to swell up like a big fat hippo in hypo, or as I call it, hypotonic solutions. Therefore, these solutions should be given slowly to prevent cellular edema, basically cellular swelling. So for the memory trick, for hypotonics, think hippotonics. Cells swell with fluid like a big ol' hippo. Now, big cautions once again. Give very slowly to prevent cellular edema and cerebral swelling, basically brain swelling. And it's not for clients with ICP, that intracranial pressure, basically pressure within the brain. Hypotonics will actually increase that pressure even more, causing further brain swelling, leading to seizures and even death. So always give hypo very low and slow. Now, for manifestations to monitor for, specifically cerebral edema, the number one sign is a headache. Number two is mental status changes, with a key term here, altered level of consciousness. Clients will appear newly confused, restless, or agitated, and finally progress into seizures and coma. Now, for the list of fluids that you should write down, I know there's a lot, but you need to know these for your exams. So be sure to print out the study guides that we provide on this list of fluids. Now, a little side note here, a critical thinking question that always confuses students. D5W, it's isotonic in the bag, but hypotonic in the body. Now, it's super confusing to many students, and this kind of stuff makes you want to quit nursing school altogether and become an Instagram influencer, right? Okay, I'm joking. But just know that D5W is hypotonic inside the body. Now for the memory trick to help you with all these fluids. As you can see, these fluids have a lot of numbers, right? So just think, hypo solutions, we have a lot of fluid inside the cell. So naturally, we have a lot of numbers preceding the solution, correct? So that's a little memory trick that you can use for your exams. Now, one of the main uses for hypotonic solutions is cellular dehydration, specifically with hypernatremia, that's sodium over 145. We have too much salty sodium inside the body, and all that salt piles up inside the bloodstream, sucking out all the fluid within the cell, which causes the cells to shrink, known as cellular dehydration. So that's why we give hypotonic solutions to fill the cell like a little hippo. Okay, lastly is hypertonic solutions. We have hypertonic, think high and dry. These solutions have a higher osmolality than body fluids. So it's very thick and salty solutions with loads of solutes, having more solutes and less water. So just look at the H here in hypertonic solutions for higher osmolality. So fluid is drawn out of the cell via osmosis to make balance, and this makes the cell skinny and dry, known as cellular dehydration. So these solutions have a higher osmolality than body fluids. So the memory trick here, hypertonic, think of a hyper person who is very skinny. So that hyper person with very skinny cells. Now a big caution here, we have to give this slowly to prevent massive fluid shifts from inside the cell and into the bloodstream, causing cellular dehydration as well as fluid volume overload. We're going to inflate that patient like a big old water balloon. All that fluid fills up the vascular space inside the blood vessel, causing hypertension crisis. So be sure to monitor for a blood pressure. And once again, the key manifestation is a hypertension crisis, a blood pressure over 180 systolic, huge risk for a CVA stroke. Okay, now for the big list of fluids that you must know for your exams. I know there's a lot here, but use our helpful memory trick. So as you can see, these fluids have very little numbers in front of the words, right? So we have a lot of 3s, 5s, and 10%. So just think, with hypertonic solutions, we have very little fluid inside the cell, so we have very little numbers like 3, 5s, and 10s before the words. Now, very lastly, hypertonic solutions are used for clients in hypovolemia, as well as heat-related or heat exhaustion issues, and even peritonitis and peritoneal dialysis. But it's really most commonly used in peritoneal dialysis to draw all that fluid out of the body and into the potty. All right, that wraps it up. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to take your quiz and download the study guides. And also feel free to share the love, share with a classmate, and even your instructor. See you guys in the next videos.